Hi, friends. Chris Kelly here. End of the week. Almost blew it, but we're getting the video out before the week's up. I wanted to take a little deeper dive into the numbers this week. I thought that would be an appropriate thing to do, and I'll kind of explain why. But I thought I would start by looking at one. We got the newest market, we call it a market action report. And one of the documents in that report is this one. Inventory in months. If you've watched this before, you've probably seen me post this before. And again, this is that measurement of velocity, right? Kind of like median and average days on the market are a measurement of velocity. This talks about how many months of inventory there are at the rate of sales. How long would it take for everything that's for sale to sell if no new listings were added? So again, historically, more than 6 months was a buyer's market, less than 6 months a seller's market. As you can see, we're pretty grossly and have been pretty grossly into a seller's market. Last year, in the last half of the year, the numbers went all the way up into the 2 months range and the high 2 month range at the beginning of the year, but right back down. So I mean, historically, these numbers started with a 6 or a 5 or 4, 3 months of the market or 4 months of inventory. This is an indication of super, super low market inventory. Okay, so that said, let me jump to the normal weekly graphic and just look at what's going on. I mean, we still have less going on in terms of raw numbers. But of the things that are going on, it's just moving at a decent clip. The days on the market went up a little in general. Median days were up to 16, which is still super fast. Anytime this is under 30 or 40 days, but that's an indication of that lack of inventory, and that's what it is. These numbers keep moving up. These numbers were down in the 4s. And they've moved right back up to where we were pretty much this time last year. So it's prices are not going down. I guess they started to. Now they're not. Even in the face of money being at 6 to 6.5%, which again historically is not ridiculous money, but when you jump from 2 and 3% money to 6% money as fast as we did, that was the challenge. We've been there for a while now, and so the world's getting on with things, and that's indicated by the fact that houses are selling at the clip that they're selling. We still don't have huge numbers here. I mean, this is slowly starting to move upward, but I would be tickled to see this number double what it is, at least up into the 900,000 range. So let's see. I wanted to, what I mean when I say earlier, I wanted to dive into the numbers just a little bit. I'm not going to get off into the weeds and, into some weird, thing about, about the history of numbers. But I find myself a lot of times talking to people when I'm listing their house or going to sell them a house. It may be a little different for a $1 million home in East County versus a $500,000 house close in. And I thought, I wonder how true that is. So we pulled up the crack research team at Kelly Marketing Group. Thank you, Cheryl. We pulled up some information, both by price point and by area. And it's kind of interesting. So let me move us over to that really quick. Here it is. So this is just a sampling of price points around all of Portland Metro. Average and median days on the market, under 500,000 or up to 500,000 rather, was 12. 500 to 800, 7. 800 to $1 million, 12. These numbers don't change that much. That's the thing that I found so telling. Even homes up way over $1 million the median days on the market's still low. Even the averages don't change that much. So, you'd think that you get into these homes here, the over 800 and the over million, that these numbers would start, the average numbers would start changing dramatically because you'd have outliers, stragglers that sat out there for 400 days or something. It's not the case. You can clearly see the number of where transactions lie, but like here's the number of homes. This is, by the way, for the month of April in its entirety, and I want to clarify that because I usually look at things weekly because I do these videos weekly. But we took this information monthly, which shouldn't matter, but I just wanted to make that distinction. You can see that the bulk of homes selling are between 0 and 800,000. Of course they are. There's dramatically less homes that sold when you get up and over 800,000, and even more so when you get up over 1 million. But here's an interesting one too. I asked Cheryl to kind of just pull these on one side of the river versus the other. What's the west side doing versus the east side? They're darn near identical. So in fact, they're almost exactly identical. The median sales price is higher on the west side, which stands to reason. But the actual days on the market, both median and average, and the number of homes sold aren't that dramatically different over the course of a month. So that's interesting to me because what that tells me is the market, like I said, there's less going on, but what is going on is happening at a good clip. That's happening all over Portland Metro, and it's happening at all price strata. That tells me that the entirety of the marketplace is experiencing what it's experiencing. It's not just the $500,000 houses in Portland that are skewing the median, if you will, or skewing the average. So anyway, I thought that was interesting information. I thought it was worth sharing. As I always say on these videos, and this is kind of back to that value proposition thing that I've talked about the last couple of weeks. The reason we do this for you is so that you're informed, so that you have good information, so that you can make good decisions, or at least start thinking about things and then make good decisions. A lot of times, I had this conversation with somebody this morning. A lot of times that incubation period, the time that I engage with you versus the time that you actually decide you want to do something, there's a lot of time that can take place between that first engagement and going to market or going and finding that next home. And that's what I'm saying. A lot of times people are kind of thinking about, is this the right time for me? First of all, is it the right, my life circumstances, is it the right time in the market to be doing something? And usually when those two things substantially align, then off we go. So I just think it's this kind of information that I shared today. What's it say? Well, it says the market's moving. There's less going on, but the things that are getting put out there, they're selling. So if you're a seller, that's great news. You might think, well, gosh, there's just not that much going on, so I'm not going to sell. Quite the contrary. There's not that much going on, so that if you're a seller, the chances are high that you're going to sell fairly quickly and you're going to do fairly well. There's not a big spread between, that's maybe something I'll dig into next week or the week after, but there's not a lot of spread between average list price and average sales price. People are still getting the money. And as this market continues to improve, that'll start looking more like it did a couple of years ago. I don't think it'll be weird and frenetic because we don't have 2% and 3% money. But for the most part, the market's going to keep hopping along. So at least here in Portland Metro, I can't speak to other parts of the country. And real estate is absolutely not national. It's not even regional. It truly is local, city to city, market to market. So anyway, like I said, this is why I do it. This is how we do it. We're here to help you. So if there's anything that my team or I can be doing, if you just have questions, doesn't matter. Feel free and reach out, and we're here for you. Okay? All right. Till the next time.